What if, without warning, the sun was replaced by something small, dense, and so magnetic it could twist atoms out of shape and fry your DNA from millions of kilometers away? That's a magnetar, the deadliest kind of star the universe has to offer. And this morning you wake up to find one sitting in the sky, small, bright, and unmistakably wrong. So, what exactly is a magnetar? Think of it as a neutron star but with issues. It's what's left when a giant star goes supernova and then collapses in on itself. It has so much mass packed into such a tiny space that atoms stop behaving normally. You're left with something about the size of a city but heavier than the sun, which should already be unsettling. But then there's the magnetic field. A magnetar isn't just dense, it's unreasonably magnetic. We're talking trillions of times stronger than Earth's field. The kind of magnetism that doesn't just mess with compasses, it can warp atoms, crash satellites, and scramble electronics from absurd distances. It also blasts out X-rays and gamma rays constantly, not in a dramatic sci-fi beam way, just a steady invisible haze of energy that makes life deeply incompatible with being nearby. You wouldn't see it, you'd just feel wrong, like your cells were trying to unzip. And no, you're not wearing lead shielding, you're in pajamas, probably still holding a coffee mug. So let's talk about what we just lost, and what we got instead. The sun is huge, about 1.39 million kilometers across. You could fit a million Earths inside it and still have room for snacks. A magnetar, roughly 20 kilometers across. You could drive around it in under an hour. The sun weighs in at 1 solar mass. The magnetar isn't that different. They range from 1.4 to 2.3 solar masses, typically closer to 1.4. Some gravitational pull, more or less, but that's where the similarities end. The sun's magnetic field around 1 to 5 Gauss. That's barely enough to nudge a compass needle. A magnetar, somewhere between 10 trillion and 1 quadrillion. That's strong enough to rip electrons out of atoms and scramble molecules from thousands of kilometers away. If you were eating breakfast, the magnetic field might start rearranging your cereal before the spoon hits your mouth. And then there's the light. The sun gives us visible light, some infrared warmth, and a bit of UV, nothing too intense. The magnetar blasts the kind of radiation that sterilizes surfaces and atmospheres. And the really fun part? Magnetars aren't stable. Every so often they flare. One sudden, brutal release of energy that makes everything our sun does look like candlelight. It happens fast, less than a second, and dumps out more power than our sun will in hundreds of thousands of years. So yeah, you're in trouble, and there's no SPF for this. If we did swap out the sun, fortunately, gravity, still safe. Earth keeps orbiting at the same distance, no spiraling into space, no sudden collapse. You stay grounded, which feels fine. Until the light goes out. About 8 minutes later, the sky turns black. No nighttime, absence. The end of daylight as a concept. Days 1 through 7, average temperatures slip below freezing. Your breath turns to mist indoors. By week 2, the oceans begin to harden. Not all at once, just a creeping layer of ice that thickens day by day. Give it a year, and the surface of the planet is colder than Antarctica's darkest night, around -73 degrees Celsius. Eventually, everything settles into a silent, lifeless freeze, -240 degrees Celsius. Greenhouse gases buy us a little time, but not much. You light a fire, then another. Eventually, you're burning furniture just to feel your hands. But physics don't care how prepared you are. You can't outsurvive a dead star. Remember how magnetars are magnetic? Like in the rewrites matter as we know it kind of way? You don't even have to be anywhere near it for things to start breaking. For tens of thousands of kilometers, satellites begin glitching, circuits fry, data gets wiped out. Your GPS becomes useless. Not that you're going anywhere with the sky glowing the way it is. Down on Earth, the power grid doesn't last long. The field induces current in every long wire it can find. Power lines, transformers, entire cities. The lights go out for good. And then it gets worse. At around 10 billion Tesla, atoms themselves start to lose the plot. Electrons get pulled into tighter orbits. Molecules stretch like they're being wrung out. Chemistry stops behaving. Biology too. You can't build a body out of things that won't stay bonded. Get within 1,000 kilometers, and the magnetism is strong enough to interfere with your nervous system. The tiny electrical signals that let you move, blink, think, they don't fire right anymore. Your body and brain are about as useful as a chocolate kettle. But even if the magnetic field didn't kill you, if somehow you were far enough away not to have your atoms stretched into spaghetti, the radiation still will. Even when you're not flaring, magnetars leak X-rays and gamma rays constantly, just sitting there, flooding space with high-energy photons. It's like living under a tanning bed built by someone who hated skin, or cells. You step outside in a hoodie and sunglasses, it's already too late. Then comes the flares, sudden, violent bursts of energy that, in less than a second, release more energy than the sun does in hundreds of thousands of years. And when it hits, the ozone layer is gone, your DNA ripped apart, every living thing on the surface sterilized, not metaphorically, literally. You don't get a warning. You don't get a heroic monologue. You just stop being alive. No pain, no panic, just a clean, instant erasure. Like Thanos snapped his fingers. On the upside, you no longer have to worry about tariffs, taxes, or skin, or anything, really. So where does all this horror actually come from? Magnetars don't shine because they're burning anything. There's no fusion happening. No slow golden glow like our sun. Instead, they're powered by stress, specifically the slow decay of their ridiculously strong magnetic fields. As those fields unravel over time, they release energy, sometimes steadily, sometimes in violent jolts. The crust of the magnetar, yes, even neutron stars have crusts, can crack under the pressure. These cracks are called starquakes, and they're exactly what they sound like. Seismic shifts on the surface of something denser than an atomic nucleus. When a starquake hits, it can jolt the magnetic field out of alignment, triggering what's called a magnetospheric reconfiguration, which is basically science's polite way of saying the entire thing throws a fit and blasts everything with radiation. And that's just the macro stuff. Get close enough to the surface and reality itself starts to bend. Quantum electrodynamics takes over. Fields become so strong they literally polarize the vacuum of space. The nothingness between particles, it stops behaving like nothing. Virtual particles flicker into existence, atoms get squeezed into rod-shaped, and physics starts making up new rules on the fly. For the record, I struggle to understand vacuum polarization, but you don't need a degree to get to the point. Don't get close. Give it a few months and Earth's just gone. Not exploded, not shattered, just cold, still, and dead. The atmosphere is too thin to breathe, doesn't hold heat, doesn't protect you. The surface is dry, blasted, and silent. Irradiated first, then frozen solid. Whatever was alive up here isn't anymore. Maybe something survives deep under the ocean, or way underground, but the surface, it's done. And you didn't make it. No one did. Maybe a few fragments of you are still drifting somewhere above what used to be home. Luckily, magnetars are rare. We've only confirmed about 30 of them in the entire Milky Way, and they don't stay volatile forever. After about 10,000 years, they settle down into quieter neutron stars. Still dangerous, just less loud. But when they do act up, it's not subtle. The 2004 flare from Magnetar SGR 1806-20 released more energy in 0.2 seconds than the sun emits in 100,000 years. Now imagine that didn't happen in a distant galaxy. Imagine it happened in hours. Closer. That's all it would take. No warning, no escape, just goodbye Earth, goodbye you. Here's what this whole thought experiment makes pretty clear. Just because the orbit stays the same doesn't mean you're safe. Gravity kept Earth in place, but without light, without warmth, that orbit might as well be a slow-motion death spiral. And magnetism, the thing most of us forget even exists, turns out to be the real threat. At these extremes, it doesn't just move compass needles, it reshapes atoms, wrecks atmospheres, ends biology. So yeah, maybe don't get too close to a neutron star. You won't need a second reminder. If today's brush with existential dread taught you something, go ahead and give this video a like. Subscribe if you want more scientifically accurate ways the universe can ruin your afternoon. And maybe hit the bell, because next time, Jupiter's moons aren't staying put. They're orbiting Earth.